pretty much the outline how it's gonna go. I brought the wrong book though. Damn. I hate when I do that shit.
NightOutHipHop.com.
Yeah. Holy smokes, I'm no joke out the bullpen. Bringing nothing but heat, leave you hanging like clothespins. He's a beast when he goes in, ice cold frozen. The first round draft pick, #1 chosen. Drop bombs, explosion, self-promotion. And I keep shit moving like a flanker in motion.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Back by popular demand. After the Buzzer Show with Lee Jones, I'm your host, your boy Lee Jones. We got a fabulous show today for you. I brought in two heavy hitters today. Of course, I got the NBA champion, the #1 New York Knicks fan from the Real Lil Show. I got Real Lil. What's happening, Lil?
I'm doing good, man. I'm the one in popular demand here. All right, with all due respect to everybody on this panel, salute to everybody on this panel. But anybody that watched this show, that knows me, that watched me, been doing this for a minute, they know anybody can get it. Anybody can get their mamas cooking here on this show. I'm ready to bring the debates. I come with love. I come with peace. But at the end of the day, I'm going to speak my you-know-what, all right? We keep it real here. That's what we do. Unpopular opinions, all right? It doesn't matter. We just tell it like it is. Lee, the topics are great. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show, and that's why I always like to have Lil on, because Lil going to bring the energy, going to bring the heat, and somebody else that'll bring the heat. One of my homeboys, Mr. Gavance. What's going on, Ty? How you doing?
Hey, man, what's up, brother? Glad to be back on with you again. I had the privilege of being on one time before, and I always was looking forward to getting back with you. But I'm ready to bring some smoke. I hear Lil talking and noise, and Lil, we're like, hey, let's get at it. I like it. I've watched you two guys go back and forth, and yeah, man, last time I was watching, you guys brought a lot of good energy, so I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I thought I'd bring in another heavy hitter that's going to give his real opinion, and that's what I like, because you're always going to get it from me. As always, like and subscribe to the show. Tell a friend about us. We got some great topics. We're going to talk about this Caitlyn Clark thing. It's blowing up all over the place. And I'm going to show the video for those that hadn't seen it of Caitlyn Clark and Alyssa Thomas and the fish to the throat. And I want to get Lil and Tyrone's real opinion about it, and get their opinion about the suspension, and also get their opinion about how race factors in to this whole equation. I think that's a good thing that we need to discuss, and I really want them to give their opinion. I'm certainly going to give mine, because I have some opinions about everything and all three things, and how race shapes this. Then we're going to jump into a little Laker basketball. One of Tyrone's favorite subjects, LeBron James, and we're going to talk about, do you like the moves that the Lakers have done so far? Austin Reeves, 4-year, $185 million. I know Ty got something to say about that. And what should they do with LeBron? Should they let him walk? Should they use the money that they would sign LeBron to sign other players? I want to get both of Leo and Ty's opinion on that. Nice subject. Jaylen Brown, this whole Boston Celtic thing. Should they trade him? Should they not? My question is, has the media turned on Jaylen Brown? Now, as always, these athletes, when they get so big or so far out of the line, there's a shift in media coverage. So I want to ask Lil and Tyrone about that. And then the final one, we're going to talk about the NCAA. New eligibility rules. Now players can play 5 seasons in 5 years. There's no more red shirting. There's no more medical waivers. I want to ask the guys, is that a good thing for college sports? For now, all athletes can play 5 years, 5 seasons in 5 years, beginning either after you graduate or after your 19th birthday. So I want to jump into all that. But again, this is going to be a great show. So we're going to get started. We're going to get started. Look, Ty, you're a guest. You're the guest here.
Okay.
And the first thing I want to do, I want to play, for those people that haven't seen the video, I want to play the Caitlyn Clark video, and then I'm going to play a couple more, and then we're going to jump into the conversation.
I mean, Caitlyn to the ground, and ooh, that's a hand to the neck, and then Alyssa Thomas steps over. I mean, Caitlyn to the ground.
That was Caitlyn Clark video. Did y'all see it, Leah, you and Ty? Okay. I want to play another video. This is the same person, Alyssa Thomas, and the foul that was on Angel Reese.
And now it's a welcome to the league moment for the rookie as she is thrown down. Alyssa Thomas doing the honors. How'd you throw her down? Well, she landed on her hip and her back, but she was thrown down by her throat. Alyssa Thomas just now 8th career flagrant foul, tied for the 2nd most in WNBA history.
First, not just because I'm a rookie, I'm a player. I'm a basketball player. They don't give a damn if I'm a rookie. I mean, I want them to come at me every day. I want them to come at everybody. I mean, they're not supposed to be nice to me. I hope y'all know that. They're not supposed to be nice to me or lay down because I'm Angel Reese or because I'm a rookie.
And then one last video.
For Howard. And a foul. Oh my, where they're getting into it. That's Isabel Harrison and Angel Reese.
Look, this is obviously spillover from the first half.
One corner that Tamika and I are blind to here courtside, so we didn't get a look at it, but
here's the foul. Physical play down there. That's the reaction. And, you know, they're both intense players.
Walk me through your perspective on the flagrant foul. What was the point you were trying to make to her?
It's just a good take foul, you know. Either Angel gets wide open 2 points, or we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
Okay. Now I just showed 4 versions of physical play in the WNBA. Started out with the Caitlyn Clark video where, Alyssa Thomas put her fist in her neck, okay? And then a series of videos that I want you now, Ty, to give me your opinion about all of the hoopla around Caitlyn Clark. When I just showed videos with Angel Reese being literally horse-collared out of the air, right? Horse-collared out of the air. I showed Angel Reese being pulled down from the back and slammed, and I showed a flagrant foul that Caitlyn Clark committed on Angel Reese when she fouled her hard, then shoved her to the ground. Now, my question to you is the WNBA just a physical league that's how they play, that's how the game is officiated, or do you feel that there's a vendetta and a personal attack on Caitlyn Clark? The floor is yours, Ty.
And I definitely get what you giving the backstory right there, because 1 or 2 of them I was very familiar with, and you enlightened me a little more when you put like maybe another video or 2 more videos on there, and some of those plays I hadn't saw. But I definitely believe it's a physical league. It speaks for itself right there. It just wasn't that there was physical with Caitlyn Clark. It's been physical with a couple players. Now the player who has all the, flagrant fouls or whatever, she's a little bit more physical because she has, 8 this year or something. Yeah. But for my opinion is that, no, this is not against Caitlyn Clark at all. This is physical play. Even Caitlyn Clark did physical play. I can see if somebody had threw a punch to her neck, but she didn't throw a punch. She had a hand on her neck, but it wasn't a punch, so it's physical. So, yeah, that's my opinion on it, man. Because we know it's Caitlyn Clark, it's just blown out of proportion, so but nobody was suspended for the other, right? If I'm correct. Was there a suspension for it?
The Isabel Harrison lady was given a flagrant 2, and she was tossed from the game.
Tossed from the game.
Caitlyn Clark got a flagrant 1. So that's sort of the gist of it right there. But again, do you think, Ty, that the league coming back and suspending her for doing it, that was appropriate? Do you think that was appropriate?
Not at all. That was not appropriate. I didn't, because you didn't do it for the others, man. It was the president already said, really, that you didn't suspend the others when they did it. So, to come back, it was because of who it was done to. That's my opinion. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Leah, what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, number one, I just want to set the record straight. You know, I don't watch the WNBA like you guys do. Now I watch a little bit of it. I'm going to watch more of it. So I can't tell you from the standpoint of what I see every day, is it a physical league or not? But what I would say, number one, for beginners, Lee, I like the fact that you came with your agenda today. You played the clips. Wonderful job, right? It gives you a layup where you're trying to go and you're taking how you're trying to, push this in a direction or whatever. But I'm going to set the record straight. Number one, all right, when it comes to racial stuff in politics, because you did have that as a part of the topic listing, does it have anything to do with race? So, basically I was attacking this from that perspective. I don't think race should be, listen, we could debate religion, we could debate politics. One thing we shouldn't debate is race. Race should have nothing to do with any game, any media content. We should be off that. We can't debate our existence. We can't debate other people's existence. That needs to be, abolished. However, we do live in a world in which there are race baiters, and race is definitely involved in sports. And I don't like it. I don't think it should be, but it is what it is. With that being said, when you talk about the WNBA, right? And Lee, you made a very good point, in my last show, talking about how things could have been exaggerated. Was things exaggerated to a certain extent? Sure. Welcome to the media. The media will do that for you. Right there, take something and blow it up and make it bigger than what it actually is. It comes with the territory. With that being said, the part that you was wrong in, Lee, on my show that we did, been talking about the same exact topic and it went over your head, is that it's jealousy. Everything has to do with jealousy. Look, the WNBA was built by black women, and they see this white girl, Becky with the blonde hair, become the face of the WNBA and the darling, and they are jealous because of it. It's the same thing that happened in hip hop. Eminem is a hell of a good rapper. Eminem, you could put him against one of the best of all time. You could put him against the greats. Even Rakim said that. Rakim was arguably one of the best rappers of all time, right? But he's not accepted into hip hop. Why? Because he's a white boy in a black dominated genre. It's the same thing here. And another thing is the biology of a woman is to be jealous of other women. That's in their biology. Not all women, but it's their biology. So the fact that the referees didn't see this live is embarrassing, that the league had to go around and correct it. Then number two, the fact that the league went around and corrected is a good thing, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to protect your star. And I don't even think they're doing a good job of protecting their stars. What professional league do you know that exists that don't protect their faces of the league? The NBA been doing that for years. The NFL been doing that with Mahomes, Brady. I mean, the list, boxing, Mayweather, giving him certain calls on scorecards because he brings in the money. Duh, that's the blueprint. You follow it. You protect the person that's bringing you the money, which Caitlyn Clark is. I never cared to watch the WNBA in the past, but now with Caitlyn Clark's existence, I'm intrigued. She wasn't doing that. They wasn't doing that for a lot of people before until she came in existence. So just like any other sports league, as a businessman that want to see your league goes up and profit and get bigger and more popular, you protect the face of your product. No debate here. Debating about.
Well, Leo, look. So there are two things that we got to really hone in on here, right? When you say jealousy, look, we all play sports. We all you know this. When I play sports against anybody, my brother, sister, cousin, nephew, best friend, I'm going at him as hard as I possibly can. He's not my best friend that day. He's my enemy because I'm an athlete, and athletes want to win. They want to win. That's the name of the game. When Caitlyn Clark came in, the WNBA was averaging 300 to 400,000 viewership, right? She skyrocketed to 700 to 800,000 viewership, right? Games that Caitlyn Clark is in, 1.1 million to 2.2 million. So she brought an element of more eyes to the sport. There's no doubt about it. More revenue to the sport. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubting that. But to say that the players are jealous, why should they be jealous of her? No. When I get you on the court, I'm gonna bust your ass. That's what I do. And that's what they do. Those ladies are hoopers. They've been hooping since they were little kids, and they come at you. And now, when you come into the league as a rookie, you saw Angel Reese get collared as well, right? When you come in the league as a rookie, hey, them vets gonna give you the business. That's in any sport. That's in any sport. The vets are going to give you the business. So I don't see it as jealousy. I see it as we gonna get you on him. We gonna bust your you know what. And you gotta prove to us that you are the man. You are the one who they say you are, right? Now, there's another aspect of it, Leo, before we make our second lap around, is this. There certainly is a racial component to it. Look. Paige Beckers is white. Sabrina Ionescu is white. Breanna Stewart, white. Kelsey Plum is white. We don't hear anything about them. They're all great white players in the WNBA. They've been fouled hard. They've been hit hard. They've been dominated by other players in the league as from a physical perspective. We don't hear it. So why do we hear it about Caitlyn Clark? Because Caitlyn Clark brought those eyes in, and she was considered the great white hope that was going to take over the WNBA. Look, we have to be real about this. I like Caitlyn Clark. I like her game. She's not the best player on her own team, but I like her game. But she was the great white hope. And because she is not dominant, she's a good player. She's fifth in scoring, averaging 8 assists a game. She's a good player. But she's not that dominant player. People want to say, now you need to officiate it differently. In what world do we do that? To where we take the game and we officiate it different. Now, if a foul is a foul is a foul, call the fouls. But Caitlyn Clark has to adjust to how this game is.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Who is trying to make her the great white hope? Who? The WNBA? The people? Like, be specific here.
The media, more, not the WNBA. I think the media was.
Yeah, it's clearly not the WNBA. It's clearly not them, and I'll talk about that in a few. But
yeah, I think the WNBA are looking at it from a perspective of growing the game, right? Growing the entire game, which they've done. Caitlyn has been a tremendous part of that. Now, let's not get that wrong, but it's about growing the game. And what has happened is there's been so much focus on Caitlyn Clark, you forget and miss how many great players that there are in the WNBA. But the media put it down as she was coming in to completely dominate the league. And when those girls started getting up in her and the league is very physical, then all of this crying foul stuff came about. Ty, what is your second lap on it?
My second lap on this first, it's like you said, Lee, you kind of took everything that I wanted to say, man. And you can't. Caitlyn Clark is not Eminem, Doc. You know what I'm saying? That's just we got to keep it. Let's
comparison, you know.
Let's keep it a buck. There's no comparison there. I mean, M's skill is top tier. Caitlyn Clark has not proved to be top tier in the WNBA. You know, her popularity is top tier, but her game is not spoke up to her popularity. So yeah, you know, but yeah, they even fouled Jordan hard. You know what I'm saying? And they knew he was going to be the face of the league. You know, but they brutal. But until he had to earn their respect from the players. They didn't bring him in as a rookie. We know how dazzling he was when he came in, but they gave him the business with those hard fouls going to the hoop. You know, that's a part of sports. You know, so but to say the jealousy, you know, I'm with you on this, Lee. You want to win. I competed in football, I competed basketball, man, and hey, you want to win the game, so you're going to play that person across from you just as hard as anybody, you know. Does a Caitlyn Clark hoopla get a little extra motivation, maybe? Yeah, you know, because the fans have, you know, those fans, we know who those fans are. They have crowned her, you know, but she hadn't earned the crown yet. Yeah, but growing the game, yes, she has done. You got to give her that. But, I mean, she can't come in and she's not the face of the league. You know, so she's protecting her, you know, like she's did what Jordan done, and then he started getting the Jordan rules. You know, he had proved himself. She hadn't proved herself to be getting those kind of that kind of respect with him. So
real quick, Lil, before you go, I want to read this. Ray Blackwell. The problem with Clark does not meet the expectations as a great player. She's not even the best player on her own team. She turned the ball over way too much and complains too much. She is a complainer, but that's part of her persona too. And Miss Boled, we know why they did what they did. Race most definitely plays a part. The girl is giving CC the business. Let's have more of it. Keep giving CC the business. Go ahead, Lil. What are your thoughts in the second lap around for you?
Yeah, so again, expanding upon my point, the WNBA needs to protect their biggest star. And look, I know Clark she may not be as dominant of a player as she was hyped up to be coming out of the draft. Still a very good player, and obviously bring a lot of class shade to the WNBA that at one point, once upon a time, couldn't even pack a middle school class. Okay, like literally, I remember back in the days when I was in middle school, and they used to give us free tickets to attend Liberty games that nobody even wanted to attend to for free. All right, this was back in middle school, bruh. All right, so we can't forget about where this sport came from. And obviously, before Clayton Clark, they've been building and it's been getting more popular, but obviously her existence took it to the next level and continuing to grow it each day. So again, just like any other sport, what you do is you at least protect that player. You see, the WNBA seem like they're in cahoots to, I don't know what they're trying to do here, because they barely promoted her when she made Team USA, right? They barely, I believe they left her off the 30th anniversary poster. You look at Steph, right? And people say, oh, well, the media is painting this great white hope narrative and whatnot. Okay. Was Steph Curry the great white hope when he came into the league? All right. Logo 3 sell, bruh. Okay, the Curry style, which a lot of people compare Clark's style to because she, shoot a lot of deep threes, that sell. There's a reason why that style changed the NBA. There's a reason why Steph Curry was the face of the NBA. It wasn't because he was cute. Come on, bruh. He was the face of the NBA because of his style of play was fun to watch. It was box office. And Clark's style is box office, and we was expecting more of that. We was expecting more logo threes. We was expecting more no-look passes and stunning no-look passes. But instead, all we getting is flagrant fouls and talking about fouls on the show and talking about fists down the throat and whatnot. No, we don't want to be talking about this because now guess what? She's not playing. She's the one that's driving the rating. She needs to be playing. You got to protect your biggest star, Lee. And my guy here, as a businessman, if you were to be a business person, right, you would want to protect your biggest asset. Why? Because, Lee, you want to make money, Lee. Mr. Lee.
Hey, you're right, Leo. I don't say protect. I say promote. Promote your biggest star.
Protect.
Promote your biggest star. But, Leo, look. The WNBA in its current state right now is where the NBA was in the late 70s and early 2000s, mid 2000s. It's a physical league. They have not great athletes in the league. There's some good athletes, but not great. But that's coming. That's coming. You got your Juju Watkins. You got all these young ladies that are in high school right now. You got ladies that are ducking off 2 feet. The game is going to expand more and more. That's what the WNBA wants to build its head on, specifically, Leo, so they can come out from under the thumb of the NBA and be a sustainable entity by themselves. That's what they're looking to do, right? And so their approach is we're going to promote all of the stars, of which Asia Wilson is the best player on the planet for the female.
Hands down.
They have great players. And so I don't think you change the rules to protect someone. You certainly enforce it.
The NFL did that with Patrick Mahomes. They got Josh Allen. They got Lamar Jackson. They got all the talent in the world to promote. But when it comes down to it, they want Mahomes playing every single Sunday. That's why you can't hit Mahomes. That's why there's a flag. They did the same thing with my guy Brady, who's the GOAT, greatest of all time. All right, we're not going to play him like he's not. They protected him.
Yeah, that's debatable.
Why you protect your best players.
Leo, I think the NFL protected the quarterback position.
Period. Yeah.
Okay.
Until you became a runner.
Everybody get the same calls.
But it wasn't a singular individual. It was, do we protect the position because we want that position, and the stars of the quarterback, they protected the position of quarterback across the board.
But
Now,
so you don't believe that Mahomes get more calls than these other quarterbacks? Because I agree, they want to protect the quarterback position. It's the most valuable position in the sport. But you don't believe that Mahomes get more calls than the average quarterback?
I think, I don't know if he gets more calls. I think, I'll say this to your point. Stars have always gotten more calls, but we're not going to change the way we philosophically officiate games to make Caitlyn Clark shine out on the court when you have competitiveness from all of the ladies there. That doesn't make sense. Ray Blackwell's point is it's great. Look, athletes don't care. And the integrity of the game, which we always talk about, the integrity of the game, you can't put it in a situation where we're always the biggest fallacy in the world in the NBA was the league gave Michael Jordan anything. That's ridiculous. That's the biggest BS I've ever heard. Jordan earned it. He got up, pumped his body, made his body where he could take the physical beating that Detroit was going to put on him, and he overachieved. Caitlyn Clark needs to do the same thing. That doesn't mean
the NBA did. They assisted Jordan. They didn't get. They assisted him with some of the rule changes that they did. So yeah, but yeah, that's not to take anything away from him.
Now
he did his part.
My guy talking sense now.
But they did assist me. You know? Yeah, of course.
What rule did they change to help Jordan win championships?
Hey, the hard fouls. They stopped people. They stopped that because of Michael Jordan.
Ty, you're a football player, right? You don't want to play football on the hardwood. You don't want to play football on the hardwood.
Well, I agree with that. I hear people. I'm a big Bron fan. I hear people talk about he couldn't have made it back in the 80s or early 90s. The dude is 6'8", 6'9", 260, 270 when he came to the league. He played the flopping stuff come from, you know what it come from? It come from the way the NBA changed how they call the game. So now players had to try to sell the foul. You're telling me Brown would have ran over guys like Rockman who weighed 215, bro? He'd have ran through his chest.
That's what I'm saying. Just like with Michael Jordan,
this is what I
just like with Tom Brady, you protect your best player. You protect your star player. I'm not saying give them every single call now, but I'm saying like they got to be some more protection for the face of your sport.
If you change rules, what Tyrone is saying, and I want to give it back to all of you, he's saying that they changed the rules so that all of the hard fouls were taken out of the game. Well, the rules apply to everybody. It didn't just apply to Jordan. They took the rules and said hard fouling was no more, right? So that didn't just say hard fouling on Michael Jordan. It was the rules of the game change for everybody.
Not just hard, and not just hard.
Appreciated for everybody, not just one person.
Yeah, not just the hard fouls on Jordan. It was that they gave him them touch fouls. Everybody wasn't getting them touch fouls, bro. Everybody wasn't getting them. You know, I know they wasn't getting them. So.
This is why you had me on your show, because you and your guy right here was out here agreeing, trying to double tag me. Turned this into a debate right here. This is why I'm box office. Right? This is what you said in the beginning. This is what the high demand is for. Okay, real Lil.
Let me ask you this, Lil, because I want to get your opinion. And Ty, you should jump back in here as we talk about what role, if any, Lil, do you see race playing in this? Then, so you have
the role that I see.
Let me finish the question. You have the all-star, all Miss America, young white lady who, soon as she got fouled hard and that fist was to the neck, it was on every newscast around the country. I just showed you two clips where Angel Reese got choke slammed out of the air, hit her head on the deck. You never saw that, had you, Leo? And then I saw where a girl pulled her down and damn near body slammed her. What role does race play in how the coverage of Caitlyn Clark and the other players, how does race factor in that, Leo? Then I want to come back to you, Tyrone.
Yeah, this is my last point on this topic. For me, race is something that is programmed in the media. Everything about this is media driven. That's racial. That's the racial component.
Right.
So whether it's white media, black media, that's what the role of race is playing. As far as my point and what I'm trying to say is that screw the race, right? Let's stop debating about race and implementing our narratives to fit whatever agenda we have, and just look at it from a business perspective. The girl has literally made your sport more popular, right? From a time, once upon a time, where you couldn't pack a summer class. All right, get more behind her, promote her more, protect her more, so this way she could be on the floor, so people can actually watch the games more. That's business 101. But as far as the racial component to this, yeah, the media is out here manufacturing narratives on both sides. For Caitlyn Clark's defense, for Angel Reese's defense, even though Angel Reese has nothing to do with what we are talking about right now. Her situation was a different situation. But again, because there's a racial component, we bring that into this equation. But, you know, again, it doesn't make any sense. What makes sense is business. And for me, Caitlyn Clark getting hit, being out of games is bad for business.
I can agree with that on some level. Tyrone, race and the whole coverage of the athletes in the WNBA. What are your thoughts?
You got to go back and say in this particular incident, it was big. It was a big part of it, because again, you go back and say Angel Reese slam choked a couple times. A black female did that to another black player. No coverage, zero. But because it was a black player this time doing it to a white player, and as Real say, quote unquote, possibly the face of the league, which I debate that, but that's another time and another story. So, but she is a big commodity for the league, absolutely. But you saw what happened, and we know why that all this suspension came around. They doubled back and they did the suspension. That's what it's all about, man. So we can talk about taking race out of it, but it'll never happen. It's a good thought. And it's a good talking point, but again, in America, it ain't happening. It's going to be always some racial components and everything. So, yeah.
Two things can be true. Leah, what you're saying is not. There's nothing you said as far as the business aspect of this situation that is false. There's nothing. You want to keep your best players on the court. You want to make sure that they're in games. The onus is also on that player to get better. Right, that player to adjust to how the league is. Now, if the WNBA wants to change how they referee the players, then by all means, implement that across the board and start to call more touch fouls and start to make sure that it is adjudicated the right way. But certainly don't tell me that there's no racial component. There's racial component in everything in this country, but because it is. The coverage, how people view it. And look, it is what it is. I gave you the numbers. There are more people watching the WNBA because of Caitlyn Clark. There's
Angel Reese
debate about that. And so
Angel Reese, bro.
Yeah, Angel Reese too.
Yeah, and Angel Reese. Yeah.
And Angel Reese. But I'll say this: when Caitlyn Clark plays, there are more eyes on her game than any game that she isn't in. That's a fact. And you're right about that. The problem with that is, again, when you start to say that the league and the players are jealous and they're trying to hurt her, that's BS. Because I watch a lot of WNBA basketball, and that's the way the league is officiated. And it's not only her that's getting hit with hard fouls and things. So stop the narrative that you got all of these black women, which is the WNBA is 75%.
It's not even about black women too. I mean, you got the whole listen, there's a mafia in the WNBA, and I don't want to offend people. You know exactly what type of mafia I'm talking about. I'll just leave that there and let it spin.
Well, that narrative needs to stop. And that's the part that really, from my perspective, pisses me off, that you say these women are jealous when these women are hoopers. And you have women that are skilled. If it was the big, bad, jealous league, why aren't they doing this to
Lee, let me ask you this one question. And this is another cheesy analogy. This your guy didn't like my first analogy, so I'm gonna try this again. Lee, if you was having a barbecue, right? And obviously we know how we feel about the barbecues, us African Americans, and some white boy was invited. You didn't invite this white boy to your barbecue, but he somehow showed up. Somebody must have invited him from your family, and he came and took over the barbecue, right? All eyes was on him. I mean, taking the whole thing over. How would you feel about that? I'm pretty sure you would feel a type of way about that. Like, who is this guy coming over here and taking over my barbecue? It's the same thing with the WNBA. The WNBA was built by black women, and they see this white girl, Becky with the good hair, come and take over the sport. There is going to be animosity. There is going to be a target on her back, and clearly it was evident in that clip with
Leo. There's a target on Victor Wembanyama's back because he came into the league and he's the so-called next one, and the players in the league
he's the one committing the egregious fouls.
They take it to him. They make sure that he knows, and they're gonna go as hard, and sometimes they're gonna cross the line. That's the nature of sport. That's the nature of any sport. You cannot say that these women are jealous simply because they go hard at Caitlyn Clark. That doesn't make any sense, and that's a narrative that's being pushed because the talent where we thought she was going to see, people want her to get to this. To your point, Tyrone, they love the logo threes and things, but there's another part of that. She led the league in turnovers last year, right? She's not as effective going right, and those young ladies they understand that now, and it's hard on her. She's a defensive liability. All of these things come out as you progress in the league, and so now her abilities on the court is not matching the hype that came from off the court, and so people want to even that out. Don't do it at the other lady's expense because that's not good, Leo. And
I got one last comment on lead. I'm done with it. And this is what I tell a lot of athletes is that everybody that, say, play college ball, went to college, most people, not everybody, but a lot of us high school superstars, right? You go into college, you got to prove yourself at that level. You become a college superstar, great athlete. But guess what? What you did in college, that automatically translates to what you're going to do in the pros. You got to prove yourself at every stop. And Caitlyn Clark has not, her game is not rose to the occasion that they thought, like you were saying, like they thought it would. Again, real, like you were saying, yeah, she's brought the money in. She brought the more eyes, but she hasn't brought the eyes in, but really because of her game. We know another thing of why, she's brought some eyes in. And what eyes have she brought in? That's a topic for another day. I think you guys know where I'm going with it, but yeah.
Yeah, so look. Great points. I love this topic. This is a great topic. Good opening topic because that was good. There's a lot of meat left on that bone more in the future. Leo, the Los Angeles Lakers. And this is still Ty can't wait to get in there because he's a Laker guy. But I'm telling you,
we got to correct you, Lee, every time. I'm a Bron guy.
You're a Bron guy. So Leo, the Lakers signed Austin Reeves to a 4-year, $185 million contract, right? Reports say they want to re-sign Hachimura. They have about $50 million in salary cap room left. Are you happy with the moves that the Lakers are making right now? And what should they do? What should they do with LeBron James? Because LeBron is a free agent. What should they do?
Look, right now the Lakers are firstly prioritizing their future as they should, right? Before, I thought the Lakers a couple years ago, before they gave Bron that extension, Bron was on his PR stunt. I thought they probably should have got rid of him and traded him as he got older, but I don't feel the same way as well. There's a different component to it, but it's not because of that. Like, I think Bron has shown that he can play behind Luka and Reeves as that number 3. He showed that he could be valuable, more like a hybrid type of role for the team that he had last year. And then obviously when Luka went down, he was the main guy again. The problem is that the Lakers are prioritizing the future, and that's a good problem because that's what they should be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, they signed Reeves to a 4-year, $185 million contract. Now, it complicates things if LeBron James wants more money. Then now things get more complicated. Now the Godfather got to come into the office now, right? Because if I'm the Lakers, I'm doing what's best for the future of the Lakers. Look, LeBron James showed that he still can impact the game. One pass, one dribble, one drive, he can impact the game. In the playoffs, he can still impact the game. And sure, you would want to have Bron, right? Like if push came to shove, Bron said, you know what? I'll come back for one more year, you know, and for reasonable amount of money for one last dance, you're taking that, no doubt about it. But if LeBron James wants more money for a guy that's probably got 1 or 2 more good years left and probably going to ride it out one more year, who knows what he wants to do with his future? You look at deals, you need a center. I'm hearing that Jared Allen, LeBron James swap, and obviously on paper, you would be downgraded as far as talent if you're the Lakers, you know, getting a guy like Allen for LeBron James. But if you really look into how it fits the team, how it helps the team, how it fulfills a need for the team, you gotta consider that. I mean, Jared Allen, Luka needs his big man. You have to build around Luka. Luka was a guy that at midnight when everybody was asleep or partying, you was able to get. I still got conspiracy theories on how that came to be, but that's not the show and time for it. But it happened, and now you got to build around Luka Doncic. So instead of holding Luka Doncic in bondage, how about you build around Luka? How about you get him that big man like Jared Allen, who, sure, yeah, it's a talent downgrade. There's things that Allen could do well and can't do well. He's not a three-point shooting big, right? But he could set a screen well. He could obviously rim lob. So Luka would love to have him. And you prioritize your future. You build around your future. And then let the chips fall where they may. But to be honest with you, I do think they have to consider trading Bron. But if they do get Bron back at a discount, then, hey, you would never tell Bron no.
Okay. Tom, what are your thoughts about the Lakers move? And more importantly, what the future should hold for LeBron James in Los Angeles?
Well, I'll first start off with the move with Austin Reeves. I'm an Arkansas guy. Reeves is from Arkansas, so this is no knock really against Austin Reeves, and maybe the league and where it's at, and they look at the numbers and say, okay, we got to get him, we got to take care of him. But Austin Reeves, 4 years, 185 million is insane. It is insane. Yes, he can score in the regular season. He don't have it in the postseason. Not just this year. I know everybody come back and say, well, he was kind of hurt. But it showed up year after year. Austin Reeves cannot be that dog in the postseason when those young guns, those defensive guys, athletic guys and guards are guarding him out on the perimeter. He's cooked. And definitely he can't guard anybody. He can't guard me. You know, so big as I am, he can't guard me. So also, to give him that kind of money and knowing he's a defensive liability. You see the guards. You see the guards in the West. Look at San Antonio. Look at OKC. You know, look at those guards when they match up with Austin Reeves, they kill him. You know, especially on the defensive side, they ain't got to score a lot, but they lock him down in the playoffs. He's just not there, and that's what's 185 million. I'm not saying this, so they can have the money to give to Bron. Absolutely not. As a Bron fan, I want Bron out of LA. I want Bron out of LA because I say that because LA fans don't appreciate LeBron. You know,
you want him out of LA and where?
Hey man, I've heard that rambling about Miami. I've always thought that possibly go back to Cleveland, you know, but definitely just out of LA, bro. I mean, if he decides to keep playing, I mean, I don't see a path forward for LA to even for them, not just for me as a Bron fan. LA I don't think they can get better bringing Bron back. You know, I just don't think it. I think he's an asset for another team. You know, built differently, but to come back and play third fiddle to Luka and Reeves, nah, that's not something I think that Bron should be looking at.
The Lakers' hand is really tied, though, right? I mean, what else would they do? I mean, if you don't bring back LeBron, who is still, you know, averaging close to 20 points and 6-7 rebounds and 5 assists, what do you do? Who do you get? You don't have that type of salary cap money, and you don't have a lot of trade potential. You didn't even hear the Lakers' name mentioned with the Giannis deal. You didn't hear the name. They don't have enough firepower to get them. Now, the signing of Austin Reeves, I wouldn't have signed Austin Reeves because there are teams that covet Austin Reeves around the league. I would have used him as trade bait, and where I would have went to Dallas and dangled him in front of the Mavs to get Kyrie Irving back to the Lakers. Look. People talk about them needing a center. DeAndre Ayton is serviceable enough. He's serviceable enough. People talk about he's serviceable enough.
I don't know about that.
What they don't have is someone like a Kyrie Irving. Look, you saw Kyrie and Luka work magic to get all the way to the NBA Finals, right? You put a LeBron James with that, and some of the Hachimuras and some of the role players that the Lakers have, the Lakers will have a legitimate shot at the NBA title. Right now, you have to sign LeBron because you don't have any options. And no matter what people say, you're right, Leo. It's Luka's team, but that team goes as LeBron James goes.
Absolutely.
Right,
I don't care. Luka score all your points. But
Luka's a great offensive player. But anytime, to your point, Ty, when the Lakers get into the playoffs and you got a Luka Doncic and you got an Austin Reeves on the board, that's a liability defensively.
That's why you have to build your team around those guys, right? Because the Mavericks, they got to a finals with Luka Doncic on their roster. As poor as a defender as he was, the lack of effort, the bickering with referees instead of getting back on defense, they still was able to make the finals because they crafted a team that fit him. They got him his bigs. They got him the perimeter defenders as well. They were aggressive, and that's why they were able to do so. If you're the Lakers, you kind of got to put Bron to the side for a little bit, and obviously may have to get rid of him or not. We'll see. But you have to put him to at least the back burner for right now and figure out how do you build around Luka and Austin, who had a net rating of 8.9 as a duo last year. We can't forget about that for what that's worth. So to me, that should be the priority, and that's what their priority is, and I don't blame them for it.
Yeah. But you bring up Dallas and Luka, but Dallas. But the point that you didn't hit on, but Lee did, is they had Kyrie. They didn't have Austin Reeves, so Kyrie he offset a lot of that stuff up top. There, you got two liabilities up top. That's a disaster waiting to happen. So yeah, I like what you said. You know, I mean, they do have to build around. But I just think they had to build around Luka and Reeves. Now you just got your defenders on the back end or whatever. You know, you still can't do it. You can't stop anybody up top. Who's going to stop the guards up top there?
The one drawback to DeAndre Ayton that you would hope that he would be better at is protecting the rim. And he hasn't proven to be that rim protector that the Lakers need because you have defensive liabilities. And so you want a better a rim protector back there. And the thing about it, they're going to have to totally remake that team to get quality wings. Leo, you're right. They have to get quality, but they have to get locked down wings because you're so deficient with your other players as far as how they defend. That's going to be a tall order. Now, the one thing I'll give you with this, Lil, and then I'll give it back to you, and then we're going to move on, is at some point the Lakers have to factor in LeBron James's age and how many more years he can play. And LeBron can play 2-3 more years if you really wanted to, but is that the best for them? Look, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic got to the playoffs without a LeBron James. Hell, they might could do it now without a LeBron James. You understand what I'm saying? If, to your point, Leo, they build the defense the appropriate way. They're not going to do it, though, with Luka and Austin Rivers. That's too much of a liability. They'll be able to score, but they would have to outscore people tonight.
I just think they need a big. I think that's their main priority. When you got Wemby in your conference, when you have the conference that's getting bigger, right? I think you need a center. I think that's where your main priority is. Now, I understand the need for a ball handler as well to help Luka out and create that extra shot creator. And obviously that was proven to be effective in Dallas with Kyrie Irving. But to me, with Victor Wembanyama in your conference, with the Thunder getting bigger as well, you need a big. And DeAndre Ayton, for what that's worth, he gave us one good season with Phoenix when they made that championship run, and that was about it. He's not consistent night to night. He want to be the guy. He won his own team. Like, come on, bro.
That's passed him by. He does not have the dog. You know, we talk about being a dog in sports. Andre Ayton, he's a good, serviceable guy, but that's not what they need. They need a dog on that back end, and he's not the guy. He's not.
They need a rim protector, and
Yeah.
with such porous defensive players out there, they need a rim protector like a Lively was with the Mavericks and Gafford. Those guys were rim protectors, and they don't have that. So more to come. We'll see where they go. They're going to have to make a decision when free agency starting on July 1. They're going to have to make a decision on where they could go. I'm going to skip a topic and then come back to it, but I really wanted to get this in. I want to get the thoughts. Jalen Rose has some interesting comments about salary cap sports and the black athlete. And I want to play those, play that clip. And then, Lil, I want to come to you, and I want you to tell me what your thoughts are about his comments.
And now it's a welcome to the league moment for the rookie as she is thrown down. Alyssa Thomas.
The only sports that have salary caps are black-led.
Wow.
First off. So that's basketball and football. Those are the only sports with salary caps. Baseball, golf, NASCAR, tennis, you can keep naming it. They do not have a salary. That's the first thing.
Holy shit.
Is correct. The second thing is they have no after high school restriction. So that's a residue of slavery. Is because we're going to get money off of you for multiple years for free. There's no way around it.
How can we start? So we got to start a union, a coalition.
Yeah, but they
got to start.
Right.
I certainly wanted to get that clip out so that I can get your opinion. What are your thoughts about, Lil, what Jalen Rose said about the salary cap, NIL, revenue producing sports, mainly football and basketball, and it being a residual of slavery? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, what Jalen Rose is saying about the cap is cap. All right, that's number one. Hockey has a salary cap. That should be the end of this debate right now. I could literally just drop the mic here and go about my business. Hockey has a salary cap, and that's not a predominantly black sport. Number two, if you're talking about it from an
he said, Lil, but he said the predominantly black sports that led, right? And I think he's referencing more college sports than pro, but go ahead.
Now, if you look at the eligibility situation, if people were able to go straight to the NFL out of high school, a lot of people will be getting killed. That's number one. Now, running backs in particular probably could go straight out of high school to the NFL, may actually work out better for them because of the longevity of that position or the lack thereof. That's different, but not all positions. You can go right out of high school to the NFL. Basketball obviously has been trying to get to the younger guys quicker. So they've been actually, implementing ideas and strategies to get younger guys to play quick. And Adam Silver has talked about that. So again, that's another myth right there. Now, here we go again with the race baiting content. And Jalen Rose is leading the coalition. The primary reason for a salary cap is for competitive balance, which is why the NFL is the best sport in America. Why? Because it has a hard cap. Thus, smaller teams and smaller market teams has a chance to compete. In fact, in the NFL, the smaller market teams are the ones that's actually winning Super Bowls. Now, you look at the MLB, which has no salary cap, right? I believe they just do the payroll spender thing. The big market teams are constantly winning in the standings. Now, I don't watch a lot of baseball. Obviously, I don't watch none. A lot is an understatement. You have high revenue franchises like the New York Yankees, and I did my homework, valued at $5.8 billion. The Los Angeles Dodgers valued at $7.8 billion, routinely in the playoffs, winning championships with the highest payrolls, especially the Dodgers, recently. Now, this allows them to sign free agents and retain top talent. But again, if you look at every World Series champion since 2015, it's been a big market. The last smaller market team in the MLB to win the World Series is the Kansas City Royals in 2015. Now you go to the NBA, and I'm giving y'all a history lesson. Take notes. The NBA has a soft cap, all right, for years. And they had a small market problem because they had a soft cap, right? And now they had to introduce the second apron so it can make it tougher for teams to retain talent. Hold on, my brother. Hold up. Okay. This is why you don't see a lot of back-to-back championships, because they can't keep the team together because Adam Silver had to, go at parity. Then another thing, Adam Silver just literally came out this week and said he wants the NBA to be more like the NFL. This is your biggest competitor. This is a sport that's been taking over Christmas, situations where you used to dominate, and you saying that you want to be more like them. That's because it's a parity thing. And why it's a parity thing and why the NFL doesn't have that issue? Because they have a hard salary cap, which creates parity, which is why your biggest competitor is idolizing what you're doing. So again, we can sit here and go for the race bait again and control that narrative and have Jadakiss say, oh, wow. Yeah. Cool. But if you actually go from a business standpoint, and again, I told this from a business logical perspective, it makes sense to have a salary cap.
Before you go, Ty, let me ask Lil a question, because I love this guy. I love how he Lil, football players and basketball players in college have to go to college. They don't have a choice. They have to go to college. The NFL, you can't go to the NFL until you're 3 years removed from your high school class. In basketball, now you have to be 1 year removed from your high school class. But you can go pro in tennis at 15 years old.
Or you could ditch class like Ben Simmons did, then show up for nothing, and then just flunk, get 1 year out of it and then go to the NBA like Ben Simmons did.
Golf, you can be professional at golf at 17, 18 years old. The revenue produced.
Lee, what's physical about golf? What about golf is physical? What about golf can get you hurt?
It doesn't matter. Let me say this, Leo. Jeremiah Smith, the wide receiver for Ohio State, could play in the NFL with the way the rules are in the NFL. See, when Maurice Correct tried to do it, it was a different NFL. They practiced 2 times a day. They practiced 2 times a day in the summer. It was physical training camp with all the rules that have been put in place in the NFL. While you can't even hit in practice, there's no way that anyone can convince me that a person or a high school player who is coming out of high school now at 6'6" and 350 pounds couldn't go straight to the NFL or even after their freshman year. See, right now you have to wait 3 years. That's what Jalen Rose is talking about. Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Moses Malone. I can go on and on and on of people that came out of high school that went straight to the pros. You referencing the pro leagues, I get that because that's collectively bargained. I'm talking about a system where you have to do it. Tyrone, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I got mixed thoughts on it, man. I like a lot of what Lil said and agree with mostly everything he said. The thing about injuries, you talk about the college player, the Ohio State receiver who can come and play now. But you're going to always have those one-offs, right? But you can't just say we're going to do it for, we're just going to pick this one person, right? So you got to look at the whole.
Of them that can do it. I think there's a lot of them that can do it physically. But let me say this, I don't want to interrupt you, but they might not be able to do it straight out of high school, but certainly after their freshman year being in a weight program, they could do it. Right now, you are mandated to go for 3 years. Give me a break. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't. That's why I said I'm fencing, crossing the fence on both sides because I don't agree with the mandate. I don't agree with a lot of the mandate, especially in basketball. It's been proven it's been done before. Why do you have to be 1 year removed from high school and all that good stuff? When we've seen Kobe, Garnett, Bron, those guys come in, and some of those other guys who came in the league who weren't the stars that those few that I named, but they were very serviceable people who came in the league to play.
Perkins on TV right now, he came straight out of high school.
Same class as Bron. Same class with Bron. So those guys, I don't agree with it to basketball. Like I said, football. basketball, some of that physical stuff is, yeah. I've been that 18-year-old kid who probably thought he could play in the league, and would have got killed, but yeah, it's.
Now you were look, you were
I
great.
wasn't 6'6", 350 either,
There you go. And what I'm saying, then I'm gonna go back to you, Liv. What I'm saying is that 3 years removed. Why? Because those 3 years before NIL, hell, the only people that were making money was the universities, the university presidents, the coaches. Everybody was making money except the player. And what Jalen Rose is saying is that's a system. That's a system that has been set up to benefit everybody except the actual people who are on the field and making the difference. There is no debating that that's true. Leo, go ahead.
I see, Lee, you're debating it more from a college eligibility standpoint. I'm debating it from a cap perspective because there was two things that he touched on in that thing. Now, obviously, in regards to the eligibility, I don't agree with it still, even if I'm just looking at it just from that perspective, because again, football, I don't think you could come straight out of high school and play football. Like Tyrone said, there could be one-offs that exists. I mean, there's an alien in every culture. There's an alien in that,
after 1 year though, Leo. Can you leave after 1 year and go play football?
I don't see what's the point of going to college for 1 year. I mean, it just makes sense that it is the way it is. Now, for a running back, that's a little bit different because again, there's a lot of wear and tear. But for other positions, I do believe, I mean, look at the quarterbacks in the NFL. And I know I'm just hitting at quarterbacks right now, but I just want to make this point that play less games in college. They don't survive in the NFL. Anthony Richardson barely played in college. Guess what? He's not starting. Same thing with Trey Lance. Barely played any college football games. Guess what? He's not starting. But take a guy like Bo Nix, who played 4 years of college football. Started, I believe, in 6, basically 6, and started, like what, 4 or 5 seasons and whatnot. Guess what? He almost made a Super Bowl. So again, it shows when you get experience and you see different systems and whatnot, that actually helps you. It's called development. That's what it's called. So again, when you come back to the cap situation, and I want to talk about the cap situation, the cap actually helps average players make more money. Because if you look at, a league that has a cap, or for example, take the MLB, right? There's a paid discrepancy between the superstars and its average earning players because there's no cap. So when the overall league sits around 5.34 million, now you look at the top earners, they making a lot of money, but nearly 65% of all MLB players are in their pre-arbitration years, which makes them close to the league minimum, which is like 780,000. So again, if you take the salary cap and you have a salary cap in your league, there's no guy that's out here. It might be 1 or 2 people that make a lot of money, but everybody else is going to make a lot of money as well, average earning players. Whereas in the MLB, you're going to get you're going to get your first billionaire in the MLB. And I understand we had that debate, which is going to be the first billionaire athlete. Oh yeah, it's going to come in the MLB clearly because they don't have a cap. But if you look at the league in general, you got guys earning the league minimum, whereas with a cap, you have more guys being able to create generational wealth for their families. So again, Mr. Jalen Rose, I understand we want to come here with the kick plate and the race bait and whatnot, but not everything is a race bait. Some things is just business. Yes, America could be a racist country. That and true could be very, very real, and it is real. But America is a capitalistic country as well. Racism, capitalism, know the difference. Real Lil.
College, and I'll go to college football doesn't allow for that capitalism, Leo. It doesn't allow for it. You know why? Because in a capitalistic society, those that are doing the work make the money. And it didn't allow that until NIL and transfer portal came. But what I'm saying to you is those pro leagues, those salary caps were collectively bargained. The players had input. They gave and take, and they negotiated that. You don't have that option in college. Tyrone, what is your final lap? Because I want to get to Jaylen Brown here in a minute. Tyrone, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I think pretty much the whole Cap thing, the whole Jalen Rose. I like what Leo said. You call cap on cap. You know what I'm saying? It's a clickbait thing for me as well. I didn't like it, but I understand some of what he was saying, but he wasn't bringing it home to me. You know, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, if you look at tennis and you see these young ladies that are 15 years old, Coco Gauff started when she was 15, 16 years old. And she was a millionaire at 16 years old. And you compare the revenue that's generated in tennis as opposed to the revenue that's generated in professional football and even college football, because college football is like a $10 to $12 billion industry right now. Then and you see all of these coaches' salaries continue to go up and up and up, and there's no type of limit or talk about limiting the amount of money that they can make. And up until 3 years ago, you couldn't even give a player a hamburger without being on a penalty. Tell me, I don't know what that is, but that certainly is not a capitalistic society, and that certainly is not the American way. That sounds like free labor, similar to the residuals of slavery to me. I'll leave it at that. Tyrone, Jaylen Brown was the darling of the NBA Finals MVP. You know, led Boston to 61 games this year. Got put out in the playoffs, but he's been in the media a lot lately. And you know, it's a mixed bag because people are now starting to turn on Jaylen Brown, and I think the media is. Why do you think that is? What do you think the Celtics should do with him? And what team do you think would be a good team to look at trading for Jaylen Brown if that's the end result?
Wow. It's a lot to unpack there, man. I think, first of all, Jaylen Brown, he's outspoken. You know, and so once you come in and you start doing a lot of that, we know that the narrative around you will change, you know, and people don't like you when it's almost like that shut up and dribble type statement or whatever, you know. If his game, he has done enough for his team. His game has improved every year. He's carried the team well. Tatum was out, you know, but in Boston, they're never going to give him the treatment or the level of respect that they give Tatum. Why? I don't know.
Why?
Personality, I believe. I think it's personality. I think Jason Tatum doesn't say much of anything. He goes out, does his game, you know, and he chose the corporate line and all that good stuff, what he's saying. And the Brown is different. You know, but do I think that they're changing the narrative about him? A lot of the loud mouths are saying different things, this and that, you know. Yeah. But I'm sure he doesn't want to be back in Boston. I mean, you know, if you ain't going to be around like that, not just you ain't going to be around for Giannis. That's one thing. The Greek freak is the Greek freak. You know, so but now they're still talking about trading him other differently. So basically they don't want you there anymore. So yeah, I would want out of there if I was him. But I know you asked the question: should they trade him? Yeah. Oh yeah. No, from a talent perspective, I say no. No, because he's a dog, and they've proven that they can play together and they can win together. You know, so yeah, I don't think they should. But on the flip side of that, if I was him, I would want out.
Okay.
And I don't know. As far as where he goes, yeah, I don't have. You know, he can go plug and play for a lot of teams, man.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Leah, what are your thoughts about Jaylen Brown? We talked a little bit about it on your show, but now, and that was centered around Giannis. Giannis is gone, and they still looking to trade this man. What are your thoughts, and why do you think the media has taken a different turn against Jaylen Brown?
Well, the media isn't turning on Jaylen Brown. They was already against Jaylen Brown for years. Let's just be clear about that. Now, a lot of it has to do with starting off with trade rumors, right? Obviously, we know the guys that he was in trade rumors for: Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Giannis recently. And I find it very perplexing that not only did Jaylen Brown win the Finals MVP, right? It's not only that, because everybody brings that up. He also won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. That's another thing. So he won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP along with the Finals MVP, along with Tatum's poor shooting performance, which was 38.8% from the field and 26.3% from three-point range. Tatum did not have a good series. Now, I understand he finds ways to impact games in different ways and other ways, but at the end of the day, my God, we ain't say that about Kobe Bryant. Oh, he found a way to impact the game. No, Kobe Bryant gonna win you the daggone game. We didn't say, oh, Michael Jordan found a way to impact the game. No, Michael Jordan gonna win you the game. That's what great players do. And where was Tatum? So then you go with that. Then Brown gets absolutely disrespected. He doesn't make the Olympic team after just winning the Finals MVP, but Tatum does. And guess what happened to Tatum? He barely played. He was benched 2 games by Steve Kerr. All right, he was limited in the minutes that he played. But yet, the smear campaign is against Jaylen Brown, which I don't understand why, because he just literally had his best season last year, averaging 28.7 points per game and led his team to the 2 seed. And Jason Tatum didn't even play game 7. And then on top of him not playing game 7, after the game, when they blew that 3-1 lead to the Philly 76ers, he's out here, whistling Dixie with the opposing team who just sent them home, laughing like a hyena with an opposing teammate. But yet we take the clip of Jaylen Brown talking about this is his favorite season, and now we blowing that up. But Tatum is left off the hook again. So why is it? And I ask this question all day long. Why is it that Brown is taking the heat when Tatum should be actually taking more heat than Jaylen Brown? And I had to do my research, and I did, and I came up with a couple things. The reality is the NBA is fine when you do the Black Lives Matter stuff. Why? Because they have corporate lobbyists that actually pay them. BLM pays them to promote BLM. So they're fine with that. If you, LeBron James, Black Lives Matter, cop shot the kid, and you go out there and you speak about it, that's fine. Steve Kerr, talking about ICE, that's fine. We'll give you the mic. We'll ask you questions. Doc Rivers, we'll ask you questions. Please speak on what's happening in Minnesota. But the moment you start challenging the establishment and getting out of line, the moment you start talking about wealth and ownership, that's when the tone is going to be a little bit different. And that's exactly what Jaylen Brown has been doing. He's not doing that fancy, trendy BLM stuff, because the BLM stuff is only emotion. There's no solution. There's no action. It's just, oh, the cop shot the kid. Oh, all cops are bad. No. Jaylen Brown is, I'm going to build a Black Wall Street in Boston. Oh, he goes to Morocco. He speaks to children and talk about the media and perception and calling out Stephen A. Smith and The Machine and ESPN. He's challenging the establishment, which is why he's getting 1,000 lashes. Kyrie Irving did the same thing. Yeah. Kyrie Irving was like, you know what? I ain't taking your stupid behind vaccination. Okay, I'm not gonna, do this, and I'm gonna talk about the Jews and post a book online. And guess what? He got 1,000 lashes in the media, and he was almost blackballed out of the league. So what's happening with Jaylen Brown is that he's too talented to blackball. So clearly that's not going to happen. But guess what? We're going to put on a smear campaign. We're going to smear his name. We're going to call him the 7th best player on a team. Are you an idiot or not? Because he's closer to the 7th best player than he is the 7th best on a team. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Ty, coming out of when he was drafted, a lot of the GMs and player personnel people thought he was too intelligent to be a great basketball player. I'm going to say that again so the audience can get it. And then I want you to comment on it. When they go through that pre-draft camp and you do the on-court and then they do the interviews, Jaylen Brown was thought of as too intelligent, too smart. He was a 4.0 student, could have went to any school in this country, right? And they thought he was too smart to be a great player. What does that say to you about how they cover him now and the fact that what Leo was spot on, some of the things he doesn't support, he supports Black wealth, Black unity, and how now the media and people within the NBA itself, Bobby Marks made those comments. He said he spoke to a player personnel, an analytics person who said analytically, he's the 7th best player on the team. How ridiculous. And Bobby Marks should have known better. He was a reputable analyst on ESPN. To me, now he's certainly not even repeating that. But what are your thoughts about how the NBA looks at those things?
Well, to say that he's too intelligent or whatever, that means that your intelligence is a threat to the establishment. You know, you're not going to come in and just you have an opinion, and some people that's over or in charge or oversee don't value your opinion. They'll value your work. What do you bring to me from a work perspective? So to say somebody is too intelligent, because it's a slap in the face to a lot of the NBA players or basketball players, because you have to be intelligent to play that sport. Yeah, it's not all about just putting the ball up in the air and putting it in the net. You know, there's schemes, there's things that you have to, as an athlete, you know that. In football, same thing. You got to read plays. You got to know where to block. You got to know the linebacker's coming here. It's just people who look at the sport and say, oh, they just running up and down the court. They don't know the game. So to say that it's a slap in the face to all those players to say he's too intelligent. Well, then that's the rest of them. You're not intelligent, so you're pretty good at the playing this because we could just tell you what to do. So yeah, that's Bobby Marks. I'm like you on that. He should have known better than say something, you know. Well, he didn't say that, but the other thing that he did say was still.
He spewed a narrative. He spewed a narrative. He repeated a narrative that no person that has ever watched basketball or saw Jaylen Brown play would ever believe that, right? And so that's why I lost a lot of respect for him and the media. The one thing that I want to come back to you real quick before we get out of here, Jaylen Brown did it the old-fashioned way. He earned it. You know, you didn't see him on a lot of commercials, even though he was the NBA MVP of the finals and the Eastern Conference Final. You didn't see him on that. But what you saw is his talent. And he's maxed out on one contract. And whoever gets him, he has a 2-year, $142 million extension waiting on it. So whoever trades for him. So he's done it the old-fashioned way. Is there something to be said, Leo, for doing it that way? Do you think more modern athletes have the gumption or the fortitude to go that route, or do you think they fall in line with the status quo?
Yeah, a lot of these guys fall in line with the status quo. That's evident. And again, the NBA will allow you to do certain things, but you can't cross a line. Again, there's lobbyists that pay the NBA to promote certain agendas and whatnot. So they'll give you a mic. They'll put it in your face. They'll let you talk about political stuff if it fits the narrative. They'll let you talk about Black Lives Matter stuff if it fits the narrative. But once you start getting out of line, and what I mean getting out of line, you start talking about bigger things, actually solutions, right? Things that actually impacts us way beyond an anomaly of a situation. Then that's where things get, problematic. And that's why when they talked about how he's too intelligent, it was like, okay, I see something in this guy, and he might say something that might spark something, that might spark a revolution. Now, Jaylen Brown has to realize that he has a lot of power because obviously of his, status and whatnot. He's a great basketball player. He's very known. He has social media, so he has a big following. So it's very easy to get caught up, in the cycle, in the system. So I hope that he wakes up, which he, clearly he's in the middle, and I feel like he could go either one or two ways. And I feel he chooses, and I wish he chooses the right path because he could really shake up a lot of stuff. Kyrie Irving did the same thing. Kyrie Irving was trying to wake people up. He got 1,000 lashes for it. Like I say, he was almost blackballed out of the league. So if Jaylen Brown could follow in those footsteps and actually wake up people, then he's a far more bigger threat than anybody is in the NBA right now.
Yeah. Kyrie Irving is my favorite athlete in the NBA because no matter what they try to do to Kyrie Irving, Leo, his talent is so good and he's so great that, to your point, he took it and he came out the back end and he's going strong. He got his contract and getting ready to get another one. And
yeah, I mean, think about it. Sean Marks literally gave Kyrie Irving an ultimatum Go against what you believe in and sign this contract, or stay with what you believe in, and guess what? We ain't paying you. And he had Dr. Anthony Fauci right next to him with the daggone shot in his hand. All right, and Kyrie Irving said, you know what? Nah, I'll pass. I'll stick to what I believe in. And guess what? It worked out for him. Just like how it worked out for Muhammad Ali, just like how it worked out for the rest of the guys that actually challenged the establishment.
That's what I like having this guy, Tyrone. This guy.
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love it.
Look, we've been an hour and 20 minutes at it. It's been a great show. I knew it would be. That's why I wanted both of you on here. We bought the fire today. I definitely want you back on, Ty. I like this three-man weave. Ty, any subject that we talked about today, I'm going to give you opportunity to have your closing shot. It could be Caitlyn Clark. It could be the Lakers. It could be what we just talked about with Jaylen Brown. It could be the issue with Jalen Rose. Whatever you want to end with, the floor is yours, young man.
Hey, I'm ending with, first of all, I appreciate you guys for having me on here, man. It's been awesome.
Great job, man.
I listen to y'all, man. I'm excited every time I listen. Like you said, Leo, he brings a fire. He gonna throw it out there. And of course, Lee, you're my guy, right? I'll end by just talking about the Lakers again. Again, I say I'm not a Laker fan. I'm a Bron guy. And in both interests of both teams, I think that, both parties, I think the Lakers should move on from Bron. I think it was a horrible decision for the Austin Reeves payday. I like Austin, but I don't think you're $40-something million a year player, because you can score a few baskets and not play any D at all. So that's my take on it.
Good take, man. Good take. Leo, any subject?
I would just say to pretty much summarize this whole entire show is that, again, we could debate politics, we could debate religion, and have healthy debates, right?
Yeah.
But we can't debate race. So when it comes to sports is supposed to galvanize everybody together, right? It's supposed to be, you ever went to these sporting events, you don't say, oh, I sit next to a white dude or a Chinese dude or whatever, and you fighting about it. Nah, I mean, you a fan of the team, y'all supporting the same team, y'all brothers and sisters, right? You love the sport, y'all brothers and sisters. So again, when we have situations like Clayton Clark, when we have situations like talking about the salary cap and how it's situated, when we have situations talking about Jaylen Brown, let's just remember that sure, yeah, obviously race is definitely a thing, and we different from each other. We have different ideas, we go through different life experiences, but at the end of the day, when it comes to sports, keep it sports related. Do not talk about stuff from a racial perspective, because at the end of the day, it's not authentic. You'll start looking like an idiot, like Jalen Rose did in that clip. And Jalen Rose is a very good mind when it comes to the sport of basketball and being an analyst, but right there, he looks like he doesn't know what he's talking about, because again, his intent is to go for the click, because he realizes that race bait is very click worthy in this time. So we need to stop that. Enjoy the game, enjoy the talent, enjoy Clayton Clark, enjoy Angel Reese, enjoy the WNBA, enjoy the NFL, enjoy the NBA, and needless to say, nothing more to say.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, good point. I probably disagree with most of what you just said, but that's that's a good point. Cool. That's a good point. Cool. I like it when you bring it like that. But I definitely want you to watch more of that WNBA because it's excellent action. Let me say this: two things. No, Leo, you made great points about the business aspect of the WNBA. You were spot on with what you're saying from a business perspective. Nothing that you said I could disagree with, and I wholeheartedly agree. Great points. The issue is you just said about not sports should be sports and not racial. But Leo, it is on every day. See, the problem with sport is when you're in high school and it's even in high school, shit, I remember growing up and I should have played a certain position, but I was put at another one. So it's always, unfortunately, because the people that are the heads of these sports, they're racial. So it bleeds down into the sport, Leo. So you can't separate that. But I'll say this. The WNBA has a officiating problem that they need to straighten up because the league is too physical, right? But they're trying to grow the league as a whole. And so by doing that, to your point, Leo, you do have to take into account the Caitlyn Clarks need to be available to continue to push the narrative and get the viewing. But certainly there's a racial component to how the media has covered this and how they continue to cover it. Last thing I'll say, Jalen Rose is 100% right about the residual of college sports, not pro. Leo, you're right about the pro aspect of it, but the college aspect of it.
This has been the Jaleel You're Right show. You know how many times I heard that on this show?
The football and basketball aspect of college sports, Leo, that's been like slavery for a number of years. It's one of the most racist organizations when you look at the black athlete that you would ever see, because for almost 60 to 70 years, the institutions have gotten free labor off of black athletes, and they built Taj Mahals on campus, and coaches' salaries have went from $3 million to $15 million, but the players got nothing. So I don't know why you can't see that. That is a residual of slavery.
And I'll say that, and I'll say this, and I'm not going with it. That's huge coming from Lee Jones, who's a Dallas Cowboy fan, who's Jerry Jones, our homeboy from Arkansas, owns the Cowboy, and we know how Jerry feels. So Lee, yeah.
Well, look, that Ty, we'll certainly have you on.
To be fair, Dak Prescott is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL as of going into 2026.
That's right.
Jerry will throw the money around now. Jerry will throw the money.
And Dak Prescott will win league MVP this year. Guys, we got a great show coming up. We're going to rank our quarterbacks 1 to 32 in this upcoming season. We're going to go division by division and give our picks and analyze the teams. Ty, I want you back for some of those conversations because I think it's a great conversation that we're going to have. This is how we do it on this show. It's been great. Ty, look, man, I appreciate it. It was great.
Thank you, brother.
You're always welcome, and you know I'll be in touch. As always, Leo, you bring it. Like, I think back to good times when James used to call Michael a militant. That's Leo right there. But that's
good analogy.
He always brings it. This has been After the Buzzer Sports Podcast Show. I'm Lee Jones. For the real Leo and Tyrone Gavance, we'll talk to you later.